Hi there, and welcome to this episode of Marketing Brains, the podcast around everything growth and performance marketing for e-commerce and D2C. I'm your host Moritz, I'm a performance marketer, and for more than 7 years, my brain has been soaked in everything digital marketing, a topic that really interests and fascinates me, which is also why I started this podcast. If you share that passion, then this will be a great podcast for you, and I'm really happy that you found your way here. If you like what I'm doing with this podcast, then I'd really appreciate if you would follow, leave a comment on this episode, or write a review for the show, because this helps me to spread the podcast further. In this episode, I'm talking with Arnaud Caillot, who is a growth product manager at Mentimeter. One of the things we talked about was how to build high-performing teams and what you can do to enable everyone in your team to bring their best. Arnaud also shared why a structured growth process and experimentation are key to Mentimeter's success and how their journey into successful growth marketing looked like. I had a lot of fun talking with Arnaud and I learned a lot in this conversation, so I hope you will too. And without further ado, I bring you this episode. Have fun listening. Hey Arnaud, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us more about yourself?
Yes, so originally I'm come from France. I guess you might be able to hear that. I've been living in Sweden, in Stockholm for the last 16 years. When I came here, I just had a bachelor degree in psychology in my pockets. I couldn't find anything really like not speaking the language. So I started working with sales, and then I was in an agency selling SEO services. So that's how I had my first foot in marketing. I started working with the SEO and content, after working in the sales department. Then I moved to more performance and working with search and also social performance. During those 16 years, I've been working both on the client side, agencies, creative agencies, performance agencies, e-com, and now I work in a SaaS company called Mentimeter.
What's Mentimeter doing for those people who don't know it?
So Mentimeter is the interactive presentation platform that you use to get questions from your audience or get instant feedback. So instead of having a one-way conversation as the presenter, you can create interactive meetings, or if you're a teacher during your lectures, you can get insight and input from your audience.
And what are you doing at Mentimeter?
So at Mentimeter, I'm a product manager for the organic growth team. That is the team responsible for the whole website experience and what we call the VI loop. We are a product-led growth company. So the usage of Mentimeter is driving more users through the audience that will vote or participate in a presentation, and that will create their own accounts after the presentation to create their own Menti. And I studied at Mentimeter 3 years ago, started the growth team from scratch.
How have they organized that before you started?
So before we have content management system on the website. So it was mostly content marketers, content managers that were using the CMS to update pages, but no one was really responsible for the full experience. And then we didn't have any engineers in marketing. So every request that we had that included, for example, a redesign of a page, of a landing page, you had to go through a product team. So that created quite a lot of friction, especially that the goals in product and marketing were not aligned. So the requests tend to take a lot of time to be done.
So it was time for you to step in and run the show.
Yes, exactly. And it was very interesting, and the scope from the beginning was not really defined. So when I studied, I had one SEO, search engine optimization manager in the team, one copywriter, and myself. So we don't have any engineer power, and we quickly realized that, okay, we need to build a product team in marketing to be more autonomous and to centralize all the requests from the different teams in marketing. So that took maybe like 10 months until we started hiring our first engineer in the team. And a couple of months later, we hired our first UX designer and the conversion rate optimization manager.
Okay, so these were the new positions that you added to the team since you started.
Yeah, exactly. And the scope, the mandate of the team changed pretty quickly from like when we started. The idea was to like create content, drive more organic traffic, and work on like CRO, like conversion rate optimization. But then we really like realized that we could have much more impact building a growth team in the marketing department.
Interesting. And who was driving that kind of exploration of what kind of team you need to build and with which kind of stakeholders did you talk primarily for managing that shift that you were going to build like a different kind of growth team than you originally planned?
One thing that is good to know for background is the like Mentimeter has been moving from a startup to a scale up. So like 3-4 years ago, it was 100 people in the company. Right now, we close to 300, and we have a say that is the only constant is change. So overall, the culture in the company is we are really open to change. And if we have someone that come in with an idea and want to try like a different setup, the management, the C-level is pretty open. So like I've been the one leading those discussions and talking to different people in the organization, mostly director and C-level. And that was like pretty quick to actually get like summed up for like, okay, let's try like this setup, product team in marketing, and like let's see how you can impact the business metrics.
Super interesting and really good to have such a supportive management, I guess.
Yeah, indeed.
Can you maybe go deeper into how your team has changed from the beginnings to now? Kind of like amount of experiments you are running. You already mentioned that you have a very different skill set now, so you have expanded your skill set. And perhaps also how the rest of the company is now interacting with your team towards the beginning.
Yeah, very good question. So when we started, we were seen as the organic or SEO team, basically like focusing on driving more registration to the website. And it has been a very long process. It took some time to put the team on the map in the company. So first, we started having more velocity when we had our first engineer in the team. So we had to revise all our like routine, like the team cadence. What do we want to like focus on? How do we prioritize? So we had to invent pretty much everything from like ways of working to what we are trying to achieve to like what the vision for the team and mission. And I remember it took maybe like almost a year until we had our first impactful experiments. We had all the stakeholders, like managers coming to us and they're like, oh, okay, it's really interesting how you work, how you keep iterating on the experiment until you have the desired effects on the metrics that you want to impact or the problem that you want to solve. So it has been quite a journey. And like at the beginning, it was a bit frustrating because we have been doing a lot of mistakes in like the scope, what we were trying to achieve. We had long-term goals with a strategy that was not very clear, and we had a lot of low-hanging fruits, or at least that we thought were low-hanging fruit. And what has been interesting is even though we have now like a very clear prioritization process where we look at the potential impact, where we look at the effort, like the confidence we have in the hypothesis that we want to validate. It has often been like for our team at least, like the low experiments that have had like the highest impact. So it doesn't mean like it's the like general truth that you can apply to everything, but like for us at least, it's been the case. We have been working like sometimes on like redesigns of the like homepage or like we spend a lot of time like in this, and then like you ship it, you experiment, you do your A/B test, and you realize after a couple of weeks that you have like a super nice, sexy like redesign, but that doesn't impact anything. It doesn't change anything. So that's been iterating like the ways of working and how can we quickly experiment and validate our hypothesis, considering that like as like most growth teams, our success rate is pretty low. So most of the things that we build actually fails. Now is like knowing that you need to constantly like adapt your processes, not to spend too much time in validating a hypothesis.
I think that's one of the most surprising facts for people new to growth marketing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think often you learn more from like failures than when you succeed. When you have like an experiment that do move the metric that you wanted to impact. And I think this is something like in culture, like that understand that you either like win or learn. So like this is like very important, like to create the psychological like safety in the team, but also to aim like failures, or like for us, failures is actually something positive. So when we fail, we want to learn from it, and we want to like share with the rest of the organization what has been the failure and what has been the learning.
You talked about distilling the right mindset in the team. How do you do that? And also, I could imagine that there's pressure from outside that doesn't have that correct view. How do you shield the team from that?
Like I would say it's quite like a journey. Like first of all, you need to have a clear strategy. When you start, it's actually like a tricky exercise, because you want to start experimenting. You see like coming from a different background, different companies, you have your own experience that can influence like how you will approach like practice and what. So you have like this long-term like strategy that is not really clear, and then you have like these low-hanging fruits where you want to show an impact as well when you start like a new growth team. And so okay, start with the scope and the goal of the team is like be aligned, like what are the expectation from like other team or builders or like C-level on your team. And then you define like the ways of working and the cadence. Like it's very easy to come up with ideas of solutions. What is really hard is to understand like which idea you want.
Having to prioritize between the different ideas that have the most impact. I'm wondering what's your process and like how you actually do it, kind of from starting, probably brainstorming towards kind of picking a few ideas. What's your process?
Yes. So first of all, like you need to understand like what problem you're trying to solve. So like you usually start with quantitative data where you can like identify like see some steps like in the journeys when you are like a high drop off like bounce rate, and then you need like quantitative data like most of the time coming from user research, to identify like what are like the key problems that you want to solve for like visitors or like users or like potential customers like coming to the website. What are the like the things that they understand your product, and what is the thing that is creating friction or confusion. Then once you have like identify like you priority problems that you want to focus on, then you get the whole team together and like potentially stakeholders from other teams to ideate on solutions. And then like you can use different models for prioritization. You can use, for example, the RISE scoring model or the ICE one, actually based on impact, effort, confidence, or you can make your own based on the like those models. So like you have some models that are a bit more complex. You can add like like scoring based on which page, like on the websites the experiment will focus on. Is it like above the fold, under the fold? And this will give you like a total score that you can use it to prioritize experiments.
So once you have done the like problem identification, what you want to fix, then you bring in people from other teams to your growth team actually, and like brainstorm possible solutions to that.
Yes, that's correct. For example, it can be like if you're working with a SaaS, you might have like a sales team and you might generate leads from the website. So in that like solution phase, if you're working on how to drive lead or like more like higher quality leads from the website, then it's likely that you'll want to talk to people from the sales team, bring them to your workshop. Or like if you want to tackle like some of the key challenges for the users, you might like from the support team, for example, or the user research team.
And how often do you do that? More or less like once a month or once a quarter, half a year?
I like usually we plan for quarters, so that depends on the needs, but like on average, I will say like once per yes. And then we can have like ongoing iteration, like based on the like learning from the experiment. Then we might have like faster iteration, but that don't need like such a big ideation workshop.
How many different ideas and experiments are you focusing on doing a quarter and doing shorter sprints?
Per quarter, like I will say, it can at the same time, I will say like two to like three problems. Like there's like two scene trying to solve like too many problems at the same time. But then you can stay like focus on them for like 6 months or like 1 year, and some of them will be like much easier to solve.
So these are more long-term goals, these 2 to 3 problems, and also more all-encompassing kind of conversion rate optimization, for example, or usage time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Perfect.
cool. Thanks so much for sharing that. I want to shift gears a bit and talk about building high-performing teams. As you have done that, I'm sure you have a lot to share. So I would be curious what your advice would be on how to build high-performing teams.
Yes, I love this topic, and at Mentimeter, we get a lot people like before starting here, I just like a deep understanding of the different stages, like the team development. And you like we use like a model that is like forming, storming, and that is I will say like understanding the different stages is very important to acknowledge like on which stage you are. So for example, like when I started the like this team, like 3 years ago, we were like on the like forming stage from like for a couple of months. And during that phase, it means that everybody is showing like his best self, like everyone is very like polite, everything is new and like beautiful. And then you move to like a next phase, that is the storming phase. And during the storming phase, that's when conflicts appears, when you feel like the leader, you're a bit more challenged by like the member of your teams. And that stage is very important. And so as like a leader, or like when you start like a team, you can be afraid of creating conflicts. But like knowing that this is part of the natural development of the team is very important to like talk about it in like in the team. Like this is what is likely to happen in the coming months, and this is actually positive. We're gonna have conflicts, and this is positive because then we'll have an opportunity to solve like those conflicts. And then we move like a norming stage, a norming phase, where we have like clear goals, like clearer like scope. We have like defined ways of working, like clear expectations on who does what and when. And then the next stage is high performing. high performing, it means like the leader can almost like step back, be like self-sufficient, or the leader won't have to be as directive as like in the so like for that you have a model. You also have a questionnaire that you can like answer, and that will give you an idea of where your team is. Like, is it like a new team? Are you in the storming phase? Are you like norming or high performing? So understanding the evolution is the like one important like step. Understanding like what type of leadership you need like in the stages is and from a and then you need like this transparency like in the team in what they can expect. Like, is it like normal to have conflicts in the team? It's like yes, and it's important. That is key to move to the next step and move to a hyper. And that's the like at Mentimeter, like in the we have like a culture that is heavily relying on feedback. So we have like processes to get feedback from different like stakeholders, from me as the manager, from my team. They can be also from other departments or like other teams, like managers. So that feedback really helped me to grow as the person, as the individual contributor, but also as the manager. So I think the transparency, sorry, that I didn't have before, like in my like former companies, really helped me to like create like a high level of psychological safety in the team. In like if one team member has like share something is like he or she like is like frustrated about, it will be much easier now to come to me like very early and like solve it, because we are a high performing team.
So now you are in a high performing stage. So you went through all the 4 or 5 stages.
Yes, 4. Like the last stage, the fifth one is adjourning. It means like when the team is like removed, then you're like in the stage 5. No, it's so like reaching high performing is not. It doesn't mean that you'll stay high performing. It means like if you have conflicts, or like you're most likely to like solve them like much faster. If you get like new members of the team, like in the team, you might like move back like a few stages. And even if you don't change anything, like the same team members, the same goal, you might at some point like create fiction, or like some people will like won't be as like motivated, or like they will feel there is not enough like innovation or like changes like or new challenges. So that can impact the team development level. Yeah.
That's really, really interesting. And I can imagine that it's a constant challenge to keep your team at the high performing level, and you need to put in effort.
Yeah.
Sort of like when you stop working out in the gym, then your muscles also go away, right? So it's kind of like similar in the growth team.
It's a good
And you
analogy.
already talked a little bit about this, and I'm not sure if you have much to add, but I want to ask you anyway, in terms of like characteristics and skills of the team members of a growth team. What do you think is important
Yeah.
to consider there if you're building a growth team?
Yeah. Very good question. I spend a lot of time uh, like PMs, or like in different companies, or like reading online, or like reaching out to people on LinkedIn. With I didn't find like 2 companies with the same setup. Sometimes the growth team like working with the website, so like not with like the like building features, but more like drive the is sometimes it's in product, sometimes it's in marketing, sometimes it's hybrid between the two. We have tried like so many different setup, and there is not like one recipe that works for everyone. Then, like I mentioned before, like we started with one SEO, one copywriter, and myself as the PM. And after a couple of months, we realized that we had different ways of working with the SEO and copywriter. So we actually like they created like a separate team that is not like a growth team, but instead we added the product designer.
Yes.
That is the UX, like modern version of a UX designer. engineers, like focusing on experimentation, also like they're responsible for the like stability, like security and like performance of the website. And then we also added a conversion rate optimization manager that is like responsible for keeping velocity in the team and making sure that we have the right balance of like experiments in
Mhm.
our sprints, because we don't do only experiments. Like we have like some maintenance and we have like some tech initiative, but we focus heavily on
So it's about finding out what you want to achieve with your growth team as well, I guess.
yes, exactly. You can have growth teams that work very close to a web analytic person, for example, or like often you'll have a marketer. So you can have like working with like someone working with the search campaign or like social campaign. It doesn't have to be only product
Mm.
focus. Right now, in our case, we are PLG, so like product led growth company, and it means the usage of our product is driving a new registration. So like the main focus for the team is to convert the visitors that come to the website in new
Right.
users. Yeah. But like I said, we have like as many setup for growth teams as we have a startup, scale up or
Yeah. Yeah.
companies.
Gotcha. That makes absolutely sense. Let me ask you what do you think is most fun working in growth?
I what I've found the most fun like working in a growth team is experimenting and always like searching for the for like to solve problems, having an impact, and like failing. Now I love to fail, and that is like a like really great reward also, like to see that the team now is high performing and everyone has this mindset of okay, we are aware that we can have that we all have like bias or like ideas about how we should like solve a problem or how we can improve website. We have like competitors or like the big dogs doing like this way, we should do exactly the same. But now we have like, okay, that's possible. That's the hypothesis. So let's ideate like on this problem together. So like there's no like bad or good idea or like we have done that in the past or like, yeah, sure, like let's take all ideas in and then we'll prioritize together based on like learnings, impact, and something that we use in the team is learning. How new is this? Is this idea? Is this something we have tested before? Are we, is this like an iteration? Are we trying something out of the box that is completely new, that is very likely to fail, but it is also very likely to generate learnings?
Thanks for sharing that. And how do you think is the ratio of new things that you're trying versus or completely new things versus like iterations of what you've done before?
Good question. Like I would say, like right now, it might be like 50-50 maybe. And that's again like often because like when you test um, hypotheses, like in for us like 70% of the case, like we will fail, like solving problems for the users or like having an impact on the metrics to
Mm.
like improve. And so we are likely to keep iterating until we are happy. And sometimes it can be that we realize that the problem that we wanted to solve, like a very big problem, and in that case, you move to like a new idea or like a new problem.
How do you manage that when, like, I could imagine that, sometimes you need to iterate 5 times before you make something work or you get some meaningful results. Maybe you're standing at after the test number 4 and you're like, should I continue with this or
Mhm.
not? How do you define that?
Yeah.
Like when you know how to stop and when you know how to continue pushing?
Yes, that can come from a like updated. user research or like more deep dives. But it's also like something that we discuss as the team. Like, what is the result from the past test? Okay, we fail is one thing, but what did we learn? And then if you have like two, like on the same problem that is not impacting results and that is not generating learnings, then it means that you need to go back to the drawing board. Are we focusing on problem? Are we building the right test for that? Or like, do we need to change completely and focus on something else?
Not easy, I guess.
Not easy now.
Cool. I
Fun.
want to switch gears a bit and ask you about the kind of tools and programs that you work with the most.
Yes, I would say like the most important tool is to understand like the problems that you are trying to solve for the users. So user research is like one of the most important tool, and the one that can give you we have a lot of like tools, of course, like to track performance. So it can be like Google Analytics or Mixpanel, Looker Studio. But yes, I think user research is the like a very important one. Then is sometimes like work on a experiment. It doesn't have to be like an A/B test that we'll use to validate the hypothesis. Sometimes it will be um, like getting more to see like the different solutions and to understand if that's the solution. In that case, like we can decide without testing. Well, then one of the like positive side is like you can have like faster like impact potentially, but then the downside is like you're not gonna learn like what was the exact impact like. And then some other tools we can use is the like classic for like A/B testing can be tools like one of the latest tools that I discovered like recently is Ballpark. And that's a solution that you can use to like quickly show like your solution. It can be like a mockup, a campaign, ads, like whatever. You can put it in front of like a selection of users, and you'll get like feedback within a couple of hours of like you can ask questions like, what do you understand like our product does? What is do you understand if it's free or not? And that is like very, very powerful. So instead of building like a full experiment, you can use a prototype. And again, it's as useful for like product managers that it can be for marketers. Instead of doing it like an A/B test on like Facebook ad, you can get like qualitative insights, like get your ads in front of like real people and understand like what they understand about like what their like perception about like you, what you do, like your solution, what problem like you solve. It's very powerful.
And that's like a third-party service, so you're not putting those questions to people that have been on your website, for example.
Like in that case, yeah, Ballpark is the third-party solution.
Yeah, I think I've heard about something similar where it's like you ask after 5 seconds, they need to tell what this company is doing. That's interesting.
You have a couple of solutions.
Awesome. I want to finish by asking you a few personal questions, and I think you can deliver lots of insight and value there as well. First of all, I want to hear from you where you stay up to date and how you kind of keep up with new learning. As you mentioned, that's really important for you as well. It's kind of any go-to resources or creators that you're following, perhaps.
It's like I often use LinkedIn for that, like following like influencers, I would say, like in a like raw like TRO world. I really like Talia Wolf that we invited actually for like one of our like meeting. It can be like people like Pip Lydia, Elena Werner, like but where I learned the most, like to be honest, is like in my team, like through experimentation and again like talking to users. But that's yes, that's the where I get inspiration from, I would say.
And okay, and how do you see the your role changing in the next 2 to 5 years in general, and also maybe with a specific spin from AI from it?
That's a good question. So personally, I'm not like so pessimistic that we all be like unemployed in a couple of years. I think AI is the powerful like solution, and we just at the beginning. But like for us, it's like we already use it like on our like in our like ways of working. For example, like engineers will use like to code or like to like validate some code that have been like working on to like detect like bugs. So AI is having like a positive impact on the code quality that we create. We can also use AI for market research or like get about like specific topics. And also like see this world of like AI everywhere as the an opportunity. Like AI is the way to create and generate content. I think the opportunity is like how do we stay relevant and like have this human like approach, and how do we stand out from the like from the
Mm.
noise. And I think the that is an opportunity because there are like some limitation with AI, and we can see already now that such engines can detect automatically generated content like through AI. And so how do we keep like is AI like the perfect solution to like generate like high level quality content about everything? I don't think so. I think there are like some limitation. And I think there is still be a lot of room for humans. And AI is actually a tool to make like
How do you see the like marketing role and in general evolving, and what do you think is important to stay ahead of the curve?
yes. So I think what is important is the like don't push like a AI away, like don't feel like threatened by it, but like think about how to use AI and how we can like benefit from AI in our like daily work. And again, I think for like any marketers, like having a growth mind is like very important. Like not only like showing that you can impact metrics, but showing that you can bring insights and learnings. And I think this is like something that you often see like when you talk to marketers and when you collaborate with like agencies, performance agencies, for example. It's like performance report. This happened, this went a bit down, CTR went up, I changed the copy. Okay, maybe sometimes even it'll be like we did like ABC test, like this banner is working a bit more than the other one, so we keep it and then we keep iterating. But what's the insights behind? What's the learning? What's the strategy behind experimentation? And I think this is the like a lot of like growth opportunity for it to what do we want to learn? What is the difference between results and the insights? And I think the insight, that's what you need to learn and understand the why. What is the reason behind the result that you get? And only if you get if you understand the why, you'll be able to learn, grow as the marketer, raise the tech like AI like around you, and the voice, the person that everybody who like talk to in
Mm.
the company.
Maybe you can give some specific examples of what you do to identify the insights and the why behind the performance that you see.
Yes. So one example, like in the world of like A/B testing, like now we say like everyone does A/B testing. Like you can test like everything from like different type of like banners, like retargeting using like social media. Uh, but very few like marketers or agencies are like very strategic to understand like, okay, what is the position that we, how do we how do we resonate with our users? What is like the main pain point that we try to address? Or like, what's the decision making process behind? What the emotional trigger. And for example, this is very like important to build a hypothesis. And based on this hypothesis, you like generate like different of tests, and that you learn not that a blue background is working better than like a yellow background, but maybe more than, okay, having a rational approach, like the product is working better or worse than showing like a specific type of emotion. And like a much powerful way of like learning from your past experiment rather than doing some test on a call to action that won't be like completely different ways of like approaching, like positioning like yourself or like your service, but being more like strategic and setting up experiments that will generate learnings and insights. And then you'll be like, okay, if I take like the rational route, maybe I can keep iterating like rational, but like what does that mean? Should I show more the product? Should I focus more like on the like benefits, for example? And that's what I mean by being strategic when you experiment. Otherwise, you like you might be wasting your time.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm also thinking about is when I look at certain results, then to hypothesize also why that is, right? So why do we see version A perform better than version B? And
Exactly.
probably you want to validate that hypothesis as well. So you're saying like it's because people care about this benefit, and then you want to test that hypothesis to see if it's actually true, or maybe it's something else that you haven't thought about.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. I want to finish with this last question, and that question is, if you could go back to the beginning of your career and share some career tips with yourself, what would those be?
Wow. Okay. Does it have to be related to what I do today?
Not at all.
Okay. Because I've been asking myself a couple of times like what I would do if I wouldn't work with marketing or growth. I think I would do something completely different. Like why not being a Michelin star, like opening a French restaurant in Sweden. I'm not sure like I like really envision my career when I was studying psychology, like back home, going toward like working in marketing and growth in startup company.
I see. So it happened more. You don't know why it happened the way it did.
I have no idea. But I know what I'm doing.
That's then it's a win.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool, Arnaud. Thank you so much for sharing so much wisdom with us. I really enjoyed
Thank you.
the chat, and I look forward to.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Bye.
And that was it for this episode of Marketing Brains. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you liked it and got some value out of it. If you have any questions or comments on the topics we covered in this episode, or any other general feedback, please make sure to reach out to me on LinkedIn and connect with me. Also make sure to listen to the other episodes of Marketing Brains. And if you have any wishes for topics to be covered in future episodes, please let me know as well. Thanks again for listening, and with that said, until next time.